Welcome back to London, Mr. Bachchan.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
How are you?
Very good.
Fantastic. Nice to see you here. I believe you enjoy spending time here quite a lot.
Yes, I do come here quite often.
Yeah?
It's almost like second home now.
Really?
Yes.
What is the connection with the UK for you? What's the thing that keeps drawing you back?
I don't know. It's a sense of feeling very comfortable. There is no language problem to start with.
Yeah.
And then lots of friends and associates who've been coming here. And
Home from home.
home from.
Absolutely. Now today, obviously, principally we're here to talk about Bachchan Bowl.
Mm.
It's a revolutionary new service, so much so it's even coined its own new terminology, which is voguing. I'd never heard of voguing before I was introduced to Bachchan Bowl. Perhaps you could explain a little bit about voguing.
Well, I think it started from the blog, and the plural of that was blogging. So when they came about with the concept of vogue, I thought voguing would be adequate.
It works. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's something that was very novel, very new, and I felt that many a times when I've been on the public platforms, the audiences have invariably asked for me to say a dialogue from a film or to recite something from my father's works. But those are very rare and special occasions.
Absolutely.
How wonderful if I could do that almost on a regular basis. And when the concept came from inside India, I immediately connected with it because I felt that one of the things that most fans want to connect with is whether they'll be able to talk to you personally.
Absolutely.
Yes, we have the concept of fan letters, and we have the concept of concerts where stars appear online. But here was an opportunity where you could actually get the impression that you're sitting across the table and talking to your favorite star.
Absolutely.
And I
So
felt
it's
that
much more personal.
Very personal, yes.
Right, okay. And I suppose that's why it's one step on from blogging. Blogging is
Yeah, it's blogging is a lot more expensive. You get more time to write several words, 1,000, 1,500 every day. This is a bit of a challenge actually, because after blogging there was the Twitter, which is 140 letters. But to immediately have the facility to, even while you're driving or moving around or sitting in a press conference such as this, to be able to pull out your phone and say, this is where I am, this is what I'm doing. And there's a feeling of immediacy.
Absolutely.
With the person that you're talking to.
And
he almost feels as though he's,
he's with you, he's sitting here right now, absolutely. Okay, and I suppose that is the whole point of, or certainly the evolution of social media. That's at its core, that the intimacy and the instantaneous nature of it. And you've been quite an early adopter with social networking across the board, and which I must say for a man of your vintage, sir, is an impressive thing, you know. But genuinely, I'm very interested that you feel so kind of forthright and determined that you absolutely want to communicate with people and you want to take time out and exchange with them.
Yeah, I just felt that I don't want to be sort of walking behind my grandchildren or my son in technology and feel absolutely lost in front of them. It's just to want to keep up with them. Never want to overtake them, but just be up.
Just so you know what they're talking about. I get it. And I wanted to ask you, obviously, as a public figure and an actor, do you feel there's so many people listening to you, there's so many people, you have a social responsibility. I'm assuming that's got to be one of the core reasons also you want to be able to get your message across and not be misquoted, because I would imagine that somebody in your of your status often is misrepresented in the press.
Yeah. This is in no way an effort to deprive the press of their own importance. Many years ago, I read a wonderful line which said, you never get funny with somebody that buys ink in a bucket. So you just accept that fact and give the respect and dignity to the media. They are very powerful, and you will not be able to challenge them. But yes, there are times when, say at 2 o'clock in the morning, you want to convey something, and there is no media around at that time. So what do?
You vlog.
You vlog, and you can blog and you can Twitter. But those are some of the facilities that are immediately available. Also, yes, if there is something that is drastically incorrect, then you have an opportunity to correct it. But I must say that through this medium, there has been a great amount of knowledge that we as people have acquired from some very intelligent people on the other side of the line. And many a times we have made comments which are not acceptable, which are untrue, incorrect, and we stand corrected, and we are corrected by the people who come on, and that's very welcome, because we're not always going to be right in what we think. With regard to social issues, international affairs, political affairs, yes, you have the liberty to make your opinion, but then be also prepared to be hit on the head in case you've taken an extreme position on some issue. I would normally like to keep away from that, because I'm not knowledgeable enough about the politics or the international affairs. But yes, now and then we do express ourselves, and there's a healthy commentary that comes out.
Absolutely.
Also the fact that if there is a debatable issue, then I quite often put it up on my blog without commenting on it.
Okay, just using it as a platform then.
As a platform to encourage others to come and debate on it. So you get a huge amount of responses which are pro, against, whatever. And it's wonderful to read this, because it's very educative.
Absolutely. Encouraging debate can only be a good thing. I'd like to talk to you about your film career. Perhaps we could turn the mic down just a little bit. It's bouncing back at us. 40 some years ago, you venture into the movie business. We're now sitting here, you've got roughly 200 films under your belt. Did you ever think when you first started out that you would have achieved all of this?
No, never. We don't have a system of any kind of a formal entry into the film industry. There is a government institution, which is an institute in Pune, which formally teaches acting, filmmaking, editing, direction, all the facilities that go along with making movies. But other than that, there is no formal process by which you can get into the film industry. So most of the young people who want to come into cinema do it on their own. They go around, talk to people. There is now a very healthy group of youngsters who are very well equipped with what they want to do and where they want to go. They will prepare their own biodata. They will film what they can do.
Put it up
sing or dance, or
put it on their blog, put it on Twitter.
And encourage people to go and see them. A lot of the people are actually going through the process of modeling on the catwalk, getting attention, getting noticed through the photographs that are taken, moving on to television, which is very large in India. As you know, we have approximately more than 400 channels, and get noticed, and then mature from there onto cinema. But when I joined in 1969, we didn't have anything like this. There was hardly any television. Modeling was considered to be not something that you equated with cinema, and therefore you kept out of it.
Right, they were disparate things.
Yes, yes. It felt as though you were doing something that was not correct.
Right.
And therefore you kept away from modeling and television, or even doing advertising. But now it's all there, and all of us are now involved in it.
Absolutely, you do your fair share of modelling nowadays, absolutely. And would you say, a lot of people say that Zanjeer was perhaps the turning point in your career?
It was the first successful film that I had, yes.
Right, okay. And what do you regard as perhaps your kind of single most important contribution to the Indian film industry?
I'm still trying to find that out.
The Vogue, I think, actually. I'm fairly sure it's Bachchan Vogue. I wanted to ask you about the moniker of angry young man, which you kind of embraced in the 70s. Do you think perhaps that movie was a catalyst for change? Do you think that the industry was looking for a change there?
I don't know. I was just an out-of-job actor looking for a job. This film came along with this very strong concept of the angry young man. It's a terminology that has been coined by the media. I don't particularly go out looking for roles which are descriptive of this genre. But when I asked the writers many years later why it was that they constructed a story in this manner, they did confess that we were affected by what was going on in the country. There was a lot of discomfort and unrest amongst the youth, of wanting to take on the system, of wanting to find a way of changing things, perhaps in their own way. And that is why when the character of Zanjeer happened, they felt it was, in a sense, an impersonation of what they themselves wanted to do. And that's why perhaps it became so successful. Thereafter, every other film that portrayed a character that was taking on the system or individually fighting the world.
Angry young man.
Yeah.
Angry young man. There he is again. Zanjeer's
so even
back.
if I was smiling throughout the film, you'd say,
he's furious.
yes, he's furious.
I wanted to ask you. Obviously, you mentioned there that the industry's changed dramatically, as it as most things have over the last 40 odd years. The Indian film industry is such a huge industry now. Where do you see it going on? There's quite a lot of external investment coming in, a lot of big companies realising the worth and the value of it, trying to get involved. Where do you see it going over the next, the next 40 years?
Yeah, I think for a very long time, Indian cinema was looked upon rather cynically, with a lot of criticism, particularly from the West, because we were somewhat different from the Western cinema. We were more fantasized in our storytelling, escapist in nature, purely commercial. But I think that perhaps the West did not understand why these kind of films were being made. They were purely made for entertainment. And when you say entertainment, you look at every denominator that is there. So the lowest denominator, which was barely able to earn the fee of a ticket by the end of the day, and who would want to go and entertain himself, would spend his entire day's earning to walk into a cinema which had air conditioning, which is a huge luxury for somebody like him. And to sit there for 3 hours and forget all his troubles and his misery and his poverty. It would be ridiculous to make a film on his life,
yeah,
and then ask him to buy a ticket and come and watch it in a cinema hall. So
like Swedish cinema.
Stories, sorry?
You like Swedish cinema?
Haven't seen it much.
Yeah, it's good. You don't need to. It goes on forever. Very droll.
But that was really the idea, to provide a good storyline, morals in place, music, dance, pretty people. He and or she felt entertained, lost in that world, and that is why that cinema became very popular. It still is the most popular cinema, despite the fact that there have been many efforts in India to cater to the more artistic audience, but it hasn't really done that well. So one believes that you run your business as per the box office, and if the box office is good,
it's not broke,
continue to making it.
Don't fix it. Right. So we'll still be seeing escapist films for the next 40 years, hopefully.
I hope so, yes.
Fantastic.
But fortunately now the West is warming up to our USP. Have accepted it, and how wonderful to be sitting here in London as a result of that.
Indeed, absolutely.